Yes, yes, yes. It's Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio. And if you have not subscribed already, but enjoy the content, please kindly do so by hitting that bell icon. Okay, so today we're looking at the words of the trainer of Andy Ruiz. His name is Manny Robles. And he had some very interesting things to say regarding and pertaining to Andy Ruiz's scheduled training, or lack thereof, as the case may be. The article is by Dan Raphael. And without further delay, let's get into it. Okay, so unified heavyweight world titleist Andy Ruiz Jr. was due to begin training for his rematch with Anthony Joshua on Monday. That's the Monday gone. But those plans did not come to fruition, says Manny Robles to ESPN on Monday night. We're working on getting back together this week. I was hoping it would be Monday, but it wasn't. So we're definitely working on that right now, Robles said. We didn't have a training session on Monday, but we're scheduling to start training this week. Ruiz scored a massive knockout upset over Anthony Joshua in what I call the Madison Square Gardens massacre. That was on June the 1st. Joshua quickly exercised his contractual right to have an immediate rematch. And after Ruiz and co. declined to fight in Cardiff, and insisted they wanted neutral ground. Eddie Hearn then set about setting up the rematch in Saudi Arabia, more specifically Diriyah. Ruiz, however, has not committed to fighting in Saudi Arabia and has cited security concerns. Still, Robles said that is not his concern. His job is to get Andy Ruiz Jr. ready for the fight, wherever it may take place. We have to figure out if I should drive over to Imperial and get things going over there, or if he'll come to LA and start training there. Then move our training to either Big Bear, which is high altitude, or somewhere in Mexico, maybe Atomi, the mountainous region, outside Mexico City, or maybe in the mountains in Jalisco, but definitely we want mountains, altitude. We'll get things going. We've got more than enough time to get ready for December, Robles said. Like Ruiz, he would prefer the fight to take place in the United States. If I could make a decision as far as where the fight would be, I would say here in LA. But it's not up to me, Robles said. It's up to the promoters, Mr. Eddie Hearn, and Ruiz's advisor, Al Heyman. It's up to them to sit down and decide where it's going to be. My job is just to get the fighter ready for action. But the first fight was in New York, and the second fight was supposed to be in New York, was it? Was it supposed to be in New York, the second fight? Really? I don't know. I thought it was supposed to be in the UK. One over there, one over here. Or England, Wales. Yeah. I get that. But now all of a sudden it's Saudi Arabia. Hold on a second. Robles is saying he was supposed to be in the UK, England, or Wales. But you guys vetoed that. Andy Ruiz, seen on the screen here, he vetoed that. Well, he didn't veto it, but he stomped his feet and made his objections. He said, no, I want it on neutral ground, neutral territory. If it's not over here in Madison Square Garden, or in LA, or Mexico, then, we want it on neutral grounds. Okay, so he asked for it to be on neutral grounds, and so now it's in Saudi Arabia, where you asked for, where you begged for, neutral ground. Now it's in Saudi Arabia, Rubles said. And I'm not 100% sold on it, but it is what it is. Like I said, my job is to get my guy ready. I'm gonna get my guy ready. And soon, as soon as I have him back in the gym, I'll be able to make an assessment as to where he is physically and mentally. And we'll take it from there. Rubles said he has kept in touch with Ruiz and seen him a few times since their historical victory. He's not in great shape, but he's hitting the gym back home in Imperial. He's running the treadmill, but obviously, we haven't fully begun training camp, Rubles said. Once we do, we'll have 4 months to get ready for a fight. That's plenty enough time to get him in shape. Let's hope we can get him back in the gym real soon and get him going again. As for Saudi Arabia, Rubles said there are questions that have been asked, or rather that have been asked of Hearn regarding the safety and security. Okay, we're back there. Yeah, regarding the safety and security. Obviously, we have questions. We have questions about the commission and who will oversee the fight, since we understand there is no athletic commission over there, he said. We want to know about drug testing, so there are simple questions that deserve answers. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, for my breakdown and assessment of the article. Let's get rid of that one. It's not really pertinent. That one may be pertinent. That's Joshua's father there. Okay, so Robles talks about Ruiz not being in great shape right now. What do I have to say about that? Well, they do have 4 months. They do have is it 4 months? What are we talking about here? We're talking about the end of August, September, October, November, December. They do. Well, it's not really 4 months, because from now, 4 months would take us to the end of December, or just past the midpoint in December. So they have 3 months and more like 3 months and 2 weeks. Although, yeah, it's close to 4 months, but it's 2 months, 3 months, and just shy of 3 weeks. Okay, so they got almost 4 months. They do have almost 4 months. A typical training camp takes 3 months. That's 12 weeks. So they do have a good amount of time. They do have ample time. I mean, 3 months is enough. 12 weeks should be enough. And there's like what? 12 weeks. There's 15 weeks. They got 15 weeks so far. So 12 months, 12 weeks is enough for a training camp. That's a standard, good quality training camp. But obviously, the difference between the last fight and this fight is that effectively Ruiz had 2 training camps. He had 2 training camps for this fight, for his first fight, because he just fought Dimitrenko. And then it was like a week after his Dimitrenko fight. He finished Dimitrenko in about 5 rounds. It was like a week or so when he got approached for the Joshua fight at MSG. And then a week after that, they were straight back into camp. So he effectively had 2 training camps for the first Joshua fight. He already came in fit to his training camp, for his second training camp, specifically for the Joshua fight. But he had the first training camp for the Dimitrenko. Dimitrenko had the fight 5 rounds, had a rest 2 weeks, and then boom, back into training. So it was almost perfect conditions. Perfect conditions for Ruiz. The difference this time is having one training camp, and he won't be coming into this training camp fit. But that said, you can flip it again and say that, well, if you have 2 longer training camp, I think he had something like 5 or 6 weeks to get ready for Joshua. His specific training camp just prior to the Joshua fight was something like 5 or 6 weeks, because he already carried fitness over from his training camp for Dimitrenko. And sometimes those shorter training camps, if you're already fit, can work out well. It can stop the staleness. So I don't think there's too much of an overriding issue with him having a 12-week training camp for Joshua this time around. I think it's plenty enough time. Plenty enough time. But he's not going in to this training camp with the fitness he went into the first training camp with. So that is an interesting variable. And also, he's been whooping it up, living it up, traveling here and there, meeting the El Presidente of Mexico, going over there to Puerto Rico, buying a new house, buying a new Rolls, this, that, and the other. He's living high right now. He's getting blinged out, getting tailor-fit suits, cut to measure, bespoke. So, clearly distracted. Will this have an impact on his mindset, on his frame of mind? Yeah, he's been living large. Does he even want to get back into training? Now he's got the silk sheets. Now he's getting the silk sheets on the bed. Is he going to want to get up and do that, hit the track, hit that treadmill? Been living a life of the nouveau riche. It's interesting. His own trainer is kind of giving him a public kick in the butt, publicly airing him out. It's going to be very interesting to see how he comes into the second fight, his mindset, his mind frame. Very interesting indeed. Watch this space. I shall be covering all eventualities right here on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. Like, subscribe, comment, and for sure, it's about that hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. It's Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio. Have your say. Leave your comments. And I'm out.